Hi, third grade. It is so good to see you back checking in. I was so excited this week to see many new faces in the class meetings and also to see that some of you are actually writing to me in the discussions underneath the weekly read alouds. Remember, those can count towards your ELA participation grades, okay? So last week we did some big kinesthetic movement type activities with your high frequency words. High frequency words are those words that you see all the time in text that your eyeball should just be able to read as soon as you see them. Sometimes we have trouble spelling them, and that's why we kind of spell them out and make sure that we can practice. So the three words from last week, I'm hoping you remember. I'm going to flash. I want you to read them as quick as you can, and I'll be listening. Then what we're going to do is spell them in some crazy voices. Okay, are you ready? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. What's the word? Good, bring. All right, so what I want you to do with this word today is I want you to spell it in a king or queen voice, so very proper. Are you ready? B-R-I-N-G. Your king or queen voice was probably better than mine. Good, bring. Can you bring me some snacks? All right, next one. On the count of 3, read it as fast as you can, as loud as you can. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Better. Like, I hope you're feeling a little bit better in this whole thing. I want you to spell this word in a cowboy voice. So give me a little country, y'all. B-E-T-T-E-R. Good, you got it. Better. Last one, count of 3. I want you to read it. 1, 2, 3. About. Perfect. Remember that schwa sound we hear there. And how many syllables are in the word about? About. Twice. My chin drops, my mouth opens for the 2 vowel combinations there, and about 2 syllables. Good. Can you spell this word in a silly voice? A-B-O-U-T, about. That kind of sounded good. All right. So last week we were working on retelling a story or recounting its main events in order to summarize. And the purpose of summarizing is that you check yourself along the way so that you're able to understand what the story is all about. And listen, grown-ups do it too. We read all the time and then we say, what in the world did I just read? And that's okay. That just means your mind's really busy. So we have to focus it in and really look at the details so that we can recall it in order to summarize it. And I picked a book this week that I thought had a really nice lesson and went well with a strategy that you were working on in school. The somebody wanted but so then strategy, okay? So you all kind of wrote to me and told me who our somebody was and what she wanted and the but, what was going on, okay? So if you recall, we were reading the book Train to Somewhere. And this story is about the orphan train. If you remember, this is called historical fiction because although our characters may be fantasy, this is based on true events that have happened in our history, where there were a lot of orphan children trying to travel west by train to be adopted by families who could take care of them. So, who's our somebody? Mary Ann. Okay, Mary Ann wanted to meet her mom again, and a lot of you pointed that out. Remember, she said that her mom had left, but that she would come back, and she hadn't yet. So now Mary Ann is traveling west to see her mom. The but part, has she found her mom yet? No. So she keeps traveling. So I want to find out what that then piece is because then I'll be able to write the summary of my book. So I'm going to begin where we left off at right after the Glover station where she realizes that her mom isn't there, but she says, you don't even have to come get me because I'm coming for you. So let's see what happens. At Glover, they line up along the railway track. Susan's pouting and whining. She says her new boots hurt her feet. There's a nice-looking man and woman at the front of the crowd. Susan stops pouting. She smiles and holds up her arms. Mama, Papa, she begs. The woman clutches at her heart. James, she's calling out to us. The man scoops Susan into her arms. We'll take her, he says. Can I have a puppy? Susan asks. The man smiles. I'll just bet you can, honey. A boy who has his eyeglasses tied on with strings is taken too, and 2 other boys. There's not much left to pick from, a woman says in a bad-tempered way. Next time we'll have to ride in as far as Porterville. I have a terrible hurt inside of me. My mother didn't want me. It looks like nobody wants me. It's not that I'm hoping to be placed because my mother could be at the very next stop. But what if she wasn't? This should be stirring up some sort of feeling inside where I'm feeling sorry for Marianne because the one woman says there's not much left to pick from, insinuating that now they're getting so far west that there aren't that many children left, and Marianne keeps hiding and hoping that her mom's going to be there and she isn't. What if she doesn't get adopted at all? Will she have to go back to the orphanage? The 3 of us who are left get back on the train with Mrs. Randolph. She gives us ginger snaps and milk from the can she got in Glover. The milk is sweet. We can't be down in the dumps, children, she said. Let's sing. She begins, Jesus loves me, but nobody joins in. She sings along through 3 verses. I bet you've heard that song. Jesus loves me, this I know. I bet you do. If I remember, you probably do. We're such a long way from Nora. I wonder if her puppy has a name. If somebody takes me, I'll ask if we can go visit her. She's like my sister, I'll say. Memorial, the conductor calls. Oh, I guess I should read it like this. Memorial, the conductor calls. There are 4 people waiting at the station. None of them is my mother, you guessed it. I stumble out with the girl named Amy and the one named Dorothy. We sneak glances at one another. We're wondering which one of us looks best. They're not pretty either. The taste of the sweet milk is still in my throat and it's making me sick. One couple takes both Amy and Dorothy. 2 for the price of 1, the man jokes, though of course there is no price. Marianne is very good with children, Miss Randolph tells the other couple. There's a sort of begging in her voice as she clutches the last agreement form, the one for me. My missus looks after our little one, the man grumps. We just came to look, the woman says. But she takes an apple from her bag and gives it to me. Have this, child. Thank you. I bend my head over the apple. It is blurry through my tears. Oh, my heart is just breaking. The train whistles blowing. Miss Randolph and I get on. There's only one stop left. 1. Miss Randolph says I should eat my apple. She says she has a washcloth in case my hands get sticky. I say I don't want to eat anything just yet. We look out the window, not talking, not singing. Miss Randolph has me take off my hat and she brushes my hair. There's a nice hotel farther down the line, she says. If there's nobody at this next stop, why, we'll just go on. I'll be glad of the company. And on the journey back. Somewhere, the conductor calls. It's such a strange name, as if it thinks itself important, as if it's a place surrounded by nowhere. I put my hat back on. My hands are shaking. Outside, there's a couple waiting by a wagon. The woman is small and round as a dumpling. She's wearing a heavy black dress and a man's droopy black hat. She is not my mother. Are you ready, Marianne? Miss Randolph asked softly. I put myself back into the corner of the seat. I whisper, no. Miss Randolph holds my hand as we get down from the train. The man is tall and stooped. He takes off his hat. The woman doesn't take hers off. I think they're both pretty old. The woman's holding a wooden toy locomotive. Are you? The man asks Miss Randolph. Yes, Miss Randolph nudges me forward. This is Marianne. Is she all? The woman stops. I know what she was going to say. Is she all that's left? But she doesn't. She looks at me closely and I see a change in her face, a softness. I thought my mother would look at me like that. Somehow this woman understands about me, how it felt that nobody wanted me, even though I was waiting inside myself for my mother to come. Somehow she understands the hurt. I'm Tilly Books, she tells Miss Randolph. This here's my husband, Roscoe. She holds the toy locomotive out to me. We brought you this. I'm not what you wanted, am I say. You wanted a boy. The locomotive has red painted wheels and a blue smokestack. I won't lie to you. We did want a boy, Mrs. Book says. But we like girls fine, Mr. Book adds. Mrs. Book squints at me. I expect we're not what you wanted either. Roscoe and I, we found each other late in life. I always thought I'd catch myself somebody a mite more handsome. She pats Mr. Book's hand, and they smile at each other. And I can tell they like each other a lot. Sometimes what you get turns out to be better than what you wanted in the first place, Mrs. Book says. Yes, there's a sort of crumbling inside of me. My mother's not in somewhere. She's not waiting here or anywhere. I reach into my pocket and bring out the feather. It was white when I took it from my mother's hair. Now it's yellow. I smooth it with my fingers. I brought you this. Why, thank you, Mrs. Book sticks the feather in the band of her droopy hat. It's funny the way it nestles there, as if it belongs, as if it has found its place at last. Mr. Book takes the agreement papers, looks at them, then at me. Will you come with us? Yes, I whisper. I have a feeling she's our wise character who has just given us quite the lesson. Mrs. Randolph leans forward and kisses my cheek. Are you ready now, Marianne, she asks. I'm ready. Yay! Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to think about the words that Mrs. Book says. Sometimes what you want turns out to be better than what you wanted in the first place. That goes perfectly with your somebody wanted but so organizer. So what I want you to do is either finish filling in your organizer from last week or finish writing to me on the discussion, and then I want you to summarize the book, Train to Somewhere. And remember that as you retell it in your summary, I want to know what happened first, then, next, and last. And in a summary in third grade, we should probably include the lesson that our main character, Mary Ann, learned. I would love to read some of your work from that. And I hope that you took that lesson to heart right now, too. I will see you next week, third grade. Excited to hear from you.